part 1A. Part 2. Oh, I forgot to, you're supposed to be taking notes how I could do this better next time. Remember?
All right, name tags. There we go.
Okay. Are you taking all mental notes? I have like,
Find a piece.
okay. All right, so what we do. All right, so at 10 a.m. you drop off your child to me at Centerville Park in Fremont. They get buckled up, we get into the 15-passenger van, and we go about our day. And at 2:30, you pick up your child at the same location. So there's a pick-up and drop-off spot, is what we call it. And that is the simplest explanation of a day in the life of. And there's also extended care. So there's early care. The earliest you can drop off is 9 a.m. The aftercare, the latest you can pick up at is 4 p.m. and that's at a different location. So it's at a classroom, aka the garage in my house. It's in Fremont and it's really close to the pickup and drop off. So my van is right there, and I still consider us mobile because the kids and I are talking about, you know, after school field trips or early care. Sometimes they want to leave early and go to the park. So we're still pretty mobile because the van's right there and we get to do whatever we want. So school program options, there's 2-day, 3-day, and 5-day options, and it's 10 to 2:30. That's the school day, okay? So there's this simple explanation. Sorry. I tried.
It's Monday.
Yeah. Okay, so going about our day. Our community is our classroom. That's one of our taglines. We have 2 main taglines, and that's very literal. Utilizing the community as our classroom, so as we learn. I mean, the van becomes the classroom, and definitely parks and everywhere we go just kind of turns into a learning experience because that's how kids are wired. So there's going about our day. Let me get back to this. There's 4 contributors driving our day's destinations. Okay, so we do have, I do have a printout of our calendar as an example. And everything we do is pretty much evolving. We're actually switching from monthly themes to seasonal themes, but if you could just start one there, and well, I mean, there's only a few of us, so won't take much to go around. So we do have a calendar. So number 1 contributing factor where we go is the calendar. The other factor is the weather. The other factor is that we are spontaneous. It wouldn't be an adventure unless we're spontaneous. And then group decision. You know, the children and I decide together. Well, how about we go to a park? That's what's on the calendar. I have this park in mind. Do you have a different park? And they vote and they make decisions together. And so these are the 4 factors driving our decision where we go. Any questions about that? If I record this, isn't it going to come out like upside down and backwards anyway? First time trying to record something like this. Okay, anyway. Okay, great. So that's how we make our decision. And the calendar is planned ahead of time, but we change. Sometimes we switch days, what we do. Okay, so next, what we learn. Through practice and relevance. Relevance is probably one of my favorite words. It has everything to do with child development, learning. If it feels relevant to the child, then they're ready to learn it. If it feels important, if it feels like, yeah, this makes sense, it's tied to their future. It's relevant. And there's a lot happening for kids in the school system that is irrelevant. So through practice, through relevance, we learn everything. We learn math, we learn reading, we do writing, we learn spelling, language comprehension, history, science, nutrition. History has been the most fascinating for me because I didn't realize that history is everywhere. First of all, everywhere we go, the kids want to read. So we're constantly reading signs and reading pamphlets and learning, from our community, and history is everywhere because everywhere you go, there's some plaque or something talking about when that building started, or, just history is everywhere. So History is a component, science, nutrition, physical, certainly, physical development, coordination, spatial awareness, emotional, boundary setting, boundary accepting, empathy, self-awareness, self-expression, and other awareness. And then social, everything listed here plus much more. And the social, emotional, actually that's pretty much a priority for me besides physical, just being in gross motor play and all kinds of physical play, running and everything you can imagine and then some. Because we've discovered so much physical play in all these different places that we go to, from climbing trees to an indoor play space at like Chick-fil-A. All these different opportunities for them to exercise all their muscles in their body is actually a huge part of this program. And I think is why the Explorers is so successful, because when we started the Explorers program and did all this physical activity going everywhere, we really saw their just explosive growth. So I've always known that gross motor comes before everything else. It's kind of the key to unlock all other areas, including intellectual. But boy, oh boy, the Explorers really showed us that there's a whole nother level of development out there. Explorers was supposed to be temporary. So the kids really made this what it is today by showing us they learn so much and develop and mature, and they're responsible for each other and themselves. It's just been pretty phenomenal. I'm going to email you some things, some examples of where we go, what we do, and why we do it. This is a 4 or 5 page off the top of my head. So there's more here than this. But, when it comes to, well, how do you learn math? How do you learn reading and writing and spelling? I think some of those answers are in here because I'll say, museums and kind of break down, like, this is what we practice. But it's all very natural. I don't have to carry around a box of curriculum with me. Their curriculum is unfolding inside of them. This is a very holistic way of learning. So any questions about what we learn before I flip?
Is there a level, is this more catered towards, pre-K kids, kindergartners, or,
Great.
5th grader also?
Yes, great question. Actually, I have an age page in here.
Okay.
Ooh, it's next.
Oh.
And it's my favorite. I
Segue.
emailed you. Yeah, so, good segue. Thank you. Alrighty. Okay, so next is how we learn. Okay, so I do, so I study child development and brain development and human development, and compared to grades, pre-K, kindergarten, and so on, this matches their development, their brain development, their whole self-development. So these are our age groups. So 4.9, that's the youngest. You can enroll in a school program. So 4.9 to 8 years old, we call free to be. They're really free to be. They're like little bumblebees. They just buzz around from this thing to that thing. They're interested in everything. They don't want to finish anything they're not interested in, and that's okay. Now, around 8 years old, there's a huge shift, and it overlaps. So the next age group is 8 to 11. And so somewhere around 8 years old, there will be a natural graduation to the next group. It's not a specific date. It's when they're ready. But let me get back to this. So this is the hardest part for parents to accept in this not school world. Self-directed education, unschooling, allowing the child to direct their education or make choices. This is so hard because all we're doing in this age group is planting seeds. This says 1 million seeds, okay? All we're doing is planting seeds. All you get to see for 2, 3, 4 years is that they are experiencing lots of things, and all we're doing is planting seeds. You don't see the fruit yet. We don't do assessments, we don't do testing, we don't do grading. Now, the part-time parents, even full-time parents, if you want to do that with your child, you can. I do have a currently enrolled family who cares about testing and grade levels, and so they kind of do their own homeschooling thing. And, that's fine. And I work very closely with my parents, one-on-one, so I do coaching. But I don't expect them to produce anything. I'm not expecting them to read. I'm not expecting them to do math. I don't expect them. I will encourage it when the time is right. But all we're doing every day is planting millions of seeds. Everywhere we go, every single day. As they slide down a slide and notice the static shock, as they run through a field, as we walk through an airport, as we play at Kidtopia, as they get into a 45-minute debate over stickers, they are learning, but they're not going to come home and say, I did this today, Mommy. I learned this today. Oh, I practiced math. Or, because we also don't overly praise. I don't give stickers. I don't do behavior charts, any of that stuff. So this is really hard. But after about 8 years old, they have this huge brain development shift. Their prefrontal cortex, where their thinking and logic and reasoning comes to play. And when that really manifests to its full maturity, ready, because there's an awkward stage around 8 years old where they're like, what's happening to me? And they just want to sleep and lay around. But what'll happen, 8 to 11 years old, you're going to start to see some sprouts. Now, it's not a million. The school system wants there to be a million. The school system wants the children to be taught this and then see the sprout, get tested, get graded on everything as they go. But if you're patient, in these years, you're going to see 1 or 2 or 3 sprouts. Because as parents, adults right now, do we have a million sprouts? Like, do we have 10 strengths? Do we have 10 different jobs? Do we need to do so much? So I think, the school system wants children to excel at a mediocre level in so many areas, but that's just not natural for the child. So what happens is all these seeds are planted and the kids are just soaking it up. History, math, reading, science, engineering, firefighter, art, all of this stuff. They're so excited. They're engaged in all that stuff. But at this age group, this is when they start to take things seriously and you see it. This is where you start to see, oh, my son, he's really into game development. Oh, my son, he's really into fantasy play, and I'm writing down his stories and all these dictations. Oh, my son is really good at dancing. Oh, my daughter loves history and is fascinated by this person and that person. You're going to start to see that, they have a few key interests. And this is the age where you can kind of push them and challenge them and make sure you see them to completion of whatever project they're working on or whatever interest they have. You don't want them to quit. This is the age. This is not the age for that. 5, 6, 7, close to 8 years old. It's really not the age for that. This is more appropriate. So this is where you are allowed to get excited as parents, because you start to see who your child is becoming in this age range. And, it's called Discover because they are discovering themselves deeply. They're discovering their interests deeply. They're discovering their strengths and weaknesses. They've already worked through, in this age group, they've worked through so much strength and weaknesses, acceptance, and working on them in collaboration. And so, anyway, we get to see that. Now, but the real fruit doesn't come until much later. And this is the hard part, because this is what we want to see in kindergarten. We want to see the bearing of fruit. Are you getting A's? Are you listening to your teacher? Did you get a smiley face today? We want this at such an early age, but really you want to let it mature in its own natural time with natural fertilizer and sunlight. And so we don't want to force kids. So when it comes to the Explorers group, I don't have this, but there is open enrollment for both of these two groups. So what this looks like is we will be together sometimes, and I have experience working in this kind of education, all ages up to 18. They actually really do need their own structure and staff person, teacher, and their own set of things to do. They're ready for deeper conversation, and then they start to, have attitudes that these parents don't want their little kids exposed to. They need to explore different things, just like these kids are acting things out in play from home or things they see on TV, all those things. This happens here too, and here, and as adults, if I'm gonna be honest. But it's a different ball game here, and you want to let them have the freedom to explore that and grow out of it and become who they truly are. So they're not always mixed, but it is one big happy family community. So that's the plan. The vision is to have 2 vans, 3 vans. We started in my car, and I still have that car. So we might start in my car again with a little group come the fall, maybe even in the summer. But that's the plan, is for these 2 groups to be really tight-knit communities and make group decisions on where we go and all those experiences. And the curriculum clearly is different. I mean, we go to the grocery stores, and I just kind of make stuff up as I go, simple things, because I want them to take it to the next level, and they do. So these are just examples of what we do when we go to Trader Joe's or Whole Foods or wherever. Oh yeah, that's right, I have another one. And so there will be a different one for the older age group, right? Most likely they will be creating it. That's kind of more of the goal is, hey, so we're going to go to Whole Foods. What would be your challenge? What can we get out of that? They're probably going to want to interview the manager. I mean, Sophie at 5 years old wanted to interview the manager. So I can't imagine what this age group is going to want to do. Okay, so any questions about this?
So currently they are all together. Currently.
I only have this group right now.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. So as soon as I have 3 kids enrolled here, so I have one student who's turning 8 this month. So next year he'll be with the older kids, and I've had a lot of interest in the older group, so it's just open enrollment. We'll see what comes out of that for the fall. But right now I only have 7 families in this age group. Kevin?
So I'm assuming 4.9 means 4 years and 9 months.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. Teacher talk. Okay, anything else? Yeah. Question? Okay. So if you stick with me, you're going to hear a lot about don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. It's just seed planting time, because even I get worried. I have 2 kids, ages 14 and 11, and even I'm biting my nails like, oh God, they should be in school, or oh my God, what are they going to turn out to be like? But they always show you they're okay if you're just patient, because something happens. My son will run downstairs and tell me something he learned, and I'm just like, okay, my kids are fine. More on how. So the structure is transitioning to seasonal. I'm really excited about that, from monthly. So we have the fall, winter, spring, and then summer it's not a year-round program, but we do have a summer camp. So basically, we go to a lot of places, a lot of the same places, but to hone in on specific places and dive deep and revisit them over and over, we will focus on certain places during the seasons. So in fall, the theme is community. So everything community related, we're going to focus on. And the activities too, the worksheets, and when we go to the library, and the kids catch on. So when we talk to people, they say, well, we're doing community this week. And so it's community. There's naturally a lot of reading in this theme, so that's why I put reading here. So the places we focus on, some are fire stations, police stations, donation centers, libraries, and post offices, and there's more. I have a long list of what we do. But other places that we go to, Kidtopia, something totally unrelated to community, they're still gonna bring this vibe with them. So that's a fun aspect of the community of children. And then winter is friendship. It's December, January, February, so we focus on friendship. Naturally, there's a lot of writing during this time with, notes home. We quiz our parents sometimes, reminder notes, and then notes to each other. So the places we will focus on visiting will be families' homes. We've done a lot of stuff with families or family-owned businesses or just going to dad's workplace, whatever that may be. So we will be, it's friendship and family, really. So homes, family businesses, arcades, and favorite places. Arcades are awesome because we usually do a different kind of challenge when we go to arcades, and they're learning so much just being at the arcade, but they usually team up, and they have to share points or time or anything like that. So friendship, a lot of teamwork and lovey-dovey stuff. And then there's spring. So March, April, May, plus the first week in June, which is graduation week. So spring, the theme is growth, obviously, right? There's a lot of math, naturally, during this theme. We'll focus on farms and animals, nursery, business, science, and finance. That might seem like a lot, and it is. But by the time the kids reach spring, what happens as they settle into this is they really grow deep roots. They really gain a depth, and they're just ready for more. They're always ready to learn more. They don't like being bored. They love being challenged. So growth, not only just in nature, but also new businesses and science, new discoveries, and self-growth. So there's going to be a lot packed into spring. And then summer, naturally, it is week by week. Naturally, it was just it was kind of like a challenge theme last summer, so we'll just call it challenge. So any questions about this?
So what was an example of a challenge theme?
There was no challenge theme.
Okay.
There were challenge activities, for like Team Spirit Week, clearly and stuff. But, jump, anything we did, it was like, okay, who can jump the highest? Who can climb? So it's like the summer vibe. It's like, I can do this. And learning new things. It was just naturally kind of what evolved last summer. How many leaves can you pick up? I don't know. It's just the way the kids are during the summer, I think. So now I'm theming it. I'm like, okay, we're just going to see how that goes theming it. Might go backwards, but we'll see. So also, this is when you can enroll. So accepting new students is only going to be, and transitioning out or switching programs, because I do like the idea of being flexible for families. As opposed to, being tied down for a whole year, financially and otherwise. I honor homeschooling. I honor seasonal changes for families and for kids. And so the obligation is to stick with the season. And so if a parent is interested in the middle of fall, the next opportunity to enroll is winter. And so right now it would be spring. So the next opportunity to enroll would be the first week of March. So everything needs to be tied up by then. And then enrollment's done. Because whenever I introduce new kids to the program, or there's a change, a schedule change, somebody goes from 2 days a week to 5 days a week, there's an adjustment period. And we don't want kids to feel disrupted and at a superficial level for very long. We want them to feel like a really deep community, and they're engaged in their work and they're ready for deeper things. So these are the times we're going to enroll or make changes. Okay, any questions about that? Yeah.
So, sorry, go ahead. You first.
So what I'm saying is, are they enrolled for a year completely, or are they enrolled
Yes.
for a season?
No, we enroll only. I don't enroll by the season, so I won't accept a parent saying, "Oh, we only are interested in winter." That I don't operate like that.
Okay.
But you can transition out or in at the beginning or end of a season.
So there's nothing like summer camp and just enrolling for a summer camp.
Yeah, sure. So summer camp is its own thing. Yeah. So it's similar to a private school or even public school where you enroll for the year, but you can make changes at the end or beginning of the season. And then summer camp is weekly. Yeah, it's bi-week. So the summer does not offer a 2-day or 3-day option. It's just for the week. But the school year offers a 2-day or 3-day option. Yeah.
That was my question, is it year round, that you answered it by her question, which is the summertime is camps.
Yeah, totally different. You can enroll just for 1 week. It's definitely different because there's not even a part-time option.
So is it kind of like the same vibe for that summertime, except for it's like summer camp and it's the same people that are involved, or are you bringing in different like parent resources to help?
No, it's the
teaching or
same vibe. It's just like last year with
So
the
it's
sun.
kind of like year round, but
Kinda.
it's a different program during the summer, right? It's just
Definitely a different structure,
five days a
different.
week,
Yeah, 5 days a week.
different times.
Only
start and stop?
no, the same times will be available. Same as even early care and aftercare. So it's the same. 10 to 2:30 is the summer camp week,
Right.
pick up and drop off, and then there's early care and aftercare.
Is the pricing the same? Like if you were paying for sorry for all the questions, but
No,
if
good.
you were paying for a 5-day week during the regular year and summer comes, and are you paying the same for the 5
No,
days?
this is
or-
an annual tuition.
Right.
Yeah, and but you pay monthly, so just like a private school.
Right.
And then for the summer camp, you do not. You can pay for the whole summer up front
Or
if you
you
want,
could-
but it's not combined. Like think of it as two businesses or two business
Right.
accounts.
So the summer they'll be like, okay, we have summer camp and this is the price model for that.
Yeah.
So I have a couple
Yeah.
questions. So my son is actually in a private school now, because I thought it would be more alternative and more child-led. It's not, and we're paying a lot for that. So my question is, as we've spoken, I'm stuck in this contract. So
Yeah.
there's no way out of it. With your program, how does that look?
She covered that one.
Oh, I missed it.
I know, she just walked out. I'm like, darn it, I wish Amanda was here. Yeah, you can make transitions in and out at the beginning of the season.
So you could
So there's no what do you call it?
But do you need to
Penalty.
Well,
No
yeah,
penalty.
I mean, there's still, you're committed for the school year.
Right.
I don't accept new students in the middle of the year at any time, only at the beginning of the season. If you need to make transitions, that's the time to do it. But in the policies, there is a 30-day notice, there's still a deposit, you are obligated to finish out at least your season. So what you're dealing with right now at the end of the year, you would be dealing the same thing with me for a season.
Which is much better.
Yeah.
We're stuck in this high contract, whether he's there or not, which
Yeah.
is frustrating. So we have to finish this.
Yeah, so my obligation is, you finish out a season, no matter what, you're obligated to that. But even if you're going to transition out of the season, at the end of the season, I still need that 30, 45-day notice, whatever's in my policy. And, all that's covered, obviously, in enrollment. But, yeah, you can't just say, hey, next week the season's ending and we're moving to Alaska, so bye. You won't see your deposit. That's just how, that all works. So, yeah, that's all in the policies. But I'm just obligating you to a season.
And then if we were to say, hey, we're going to enroll Kaden, starting this fall, which we probably will, when does that open?
It's like the first,
September?
yeah, it's like September 6th or whatever. It naturally falls after that holiday.
But like
The
we're
holiday is.
But when do we say
Open
we're for sure
enrollment.
doing this?
Oh, you
month?
can apply now. The first step is apply online, and then we either do a trial day or enroll. Obviously, you don't need a trial day, so I just send you your enrollment.
Right.
Yeah, you can enroll.
We can do it now for the fall.
Yeah, for you guys, you don't actually even need to apply because you've been a current family. So my open enrollment is the second week of March, right? Yeah. So all spots are being held for current families through the first week of March, and then the second week of March, the spots open up for new families. But you can certainly fill out paperwork. We just won't. As soon as that's ready, yeah, I can send it to you.
And it just requires
Yeah.
like 1 month tuition deposit to reserve your spot
Yeah,
in the school.
yeah.
So, couple of questions.
Yes.
So, which 2 days did you mention were the options for
Monday, Tuesday.
Monday and Tuesday?
Yeah, that's right.
3-day option is
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Monday and Tuesday.
Should we?
What time is it?
Oh, I can leave that if you want, since we're talking about.
Oh, sure. So these are all the options. Here's tuition comparison on the other sheet.
Sorry, quick question.
Yeah, of course.
The seasonal themes?
Yes.
So I saw one season it's reading, another one's writing. Does that imply that you cover reading but not necessarily math on that same season?
Sure.
Maybe science?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if it's just kind of focused on, I don't know, community reading.
No, so
fall and-
this actually really should, I put this here just because I'm like, wow, whenever we focus on community and we're in the community, reading is the kids drive this, not me.
Mhm.
So the kids are naturally reading a lot, actually, just during that theme. It doesn't mean we don't focus on it any other time.
Okay.
There's a ton of reading in the summer, actually. And of course we're doing math because we'll still go to Chuck E. Cheese and do our point calculation. I mean, they do so much math. I actually bring worksheets to Chuck E. Cheese, and it's so awesome. You want your kids growing up loving learning. Okay, and so when I introduce math and they feel successful at math and they're playing games at Chuck E. Cheese, that is, what's the saying? Neurons fire together, wire together. It's the same concept. So they grow up loving. They don't grow up with a disdain for anything. So it doesn't mean that we're hyper-focused on this.
Yeah.
It's a natural byproduct of this theme. Same with this. Friendship, a natural byproduct that is regular, is writing.
Okay.
But we will definitely be doing writing all other places. And same with this. A natural byproduct of when we focus on our theme of growth is math.
Got it.
So that's where that comes from. Yeah, thank you so much. That's a great question. Is it crooked? Okay, anything else? Okay, are we doing okay on time? Oh, pretty good. Yeah, till 6:30.
What's our time limit?
Oh, I have this room till 7:30, but I told you guys I would keep you here till 6:30. Can't leave for another 7 minutes. Okay, so
It's
the why.
presentation season.
Huh?
It's a presentation season.
Yes.
Season's over in 12 minutes.
You're obligated to stay for 7 more minutes. Okay. So our other tagline is happy, wise kids grow up to be happy, wise adults. That's got to be your driving why to get through that seed planting phase, to see only 1 or 2 sprouts at 9 years old. I mean, my younger son didn't really start to read until he was 9, but it's not a problem now. It's those kind of things that are nail-biting for us parents, but if you can get through it, if you care mostly about your child being happy and wise as an adult, that's your big why. This is the environment for them, or at least for a season, no pun intended. Also, I wanted to say why it's a program and not a school. So the benefits. Health freedom. You don't have to turn in health records, including vaccinations, when you enter into a program. You can keep that stuff private. Parents feel empowered. You are taking your child's education into your own hands because as a program, you are now the homeschool family. Even my full-time parents, they are considered the homeschool entity. I have resources on that for you. And then the students are empowered because they're not obligated to attendance and grading and assessments and all this curriculum. They don't have to do. They get to choose. So they are empowered, and as they grow up, their empowerment just becomes wider and deeper. The flexibility, which we just went over with the seasons, and you're not being held to attendance like you are in regular schools. So there's flexibility there. You can even switch 2 days, 3 days, 5 days. I honor the flexibility so that you can follow your children's interests more and just where they're at in life. Charter school support is optional with a program. That's these are all reasons why I stayed a program and didn't become a school. If I was to become, I could still. But I'm staying as a program because mainly of these reasons. And you can sign up with a charter school, an off-campus charter school, like Connecting Waters or the other ones. And basically you can get teacher support. They do go for testing. You can get resources. And so basically it's kind of like a partnership. And this is all the stuff I crossed out. No tests, no assessments, no grades, no forced curriculum, no outdated curriculum, no forced attendance, no shame, no judgment, no overpraise, and the list could just go on and on in my mind. This is where I get stuck and I talk for a whole hour about, why I quit teaching, why I pulled my kids from school, why this became so important to me after seeing my kids de-school. That was the big kicker for me, and then all my research, of course. So this stuff, well, not the judgment or shame, but these things, assessments, tests, my older son asks to be tested, okay? I'm not against anything, really. I think if your kids are in school that is doing all this, hopefully it's just for a short time. Hopefully they don't have to do it when they're a teenager, because I'm not really a big fan of high school. I think teenagers are the most underrated species in our world. So we're finishing up. I know this is my last page. So I want to leave you with this thought. So natural and instinctual child development didn't stop at 4 years old. So here's another heady thing for me to throw at you. When you had your baby, naturally, you were looking forward to the child development things that would happen naturally. Sitting up, walking, crawling, eating, grasping. All of that stuff was not necessarily forced upon them. And we all understood that child development when they were so little. And then what happened? They go to school. And we are not taught or talked to or getting books, grasping for books about child development anymore because we pass them off, but it never stopped. It doesn't stop. Their interest and instinct to learn math and reading and experience life doesn't stop, just like when they were sitting up and putting that ball in that hole. All that stuff was natural, and it doesn't stop. It does stop if they go to school, unless they go to school. And I know it seems harsh, but that's why I quit, because I saw that the kids were stopped from doing what they were naturally inclined to do, and I saw that that wasn't good for them. So I don't want to end on that note, actually. That was so dark. Next steps, apply. Don't run away. Help me with that, Monica. I need a really nice ending to this. Well, gosh, sorry. Oh, by the way, I went to Academy of Art in San Francisco. $40,000 got you all these great illustrations, by the way.
Can I say something?
Yes.
So it's interesting hearing you talk, and then knowing you from when our son was young, and now he's going to be 6 this year, and having made the decision to put him into a private school, which we thought was kind of a similar thing, where we're definitely not, our kid is not made out to be in traditional school. So we put him in a private school thinking that this would be the right path.
Sure.
Right? And now we're walking.
I thought so too.
Everything you're saying resonates with me, because we watch it happen. Our son doesn't like the school he's in because they're too forceful with trying to get him to do stuff. But I watch him naturally learn.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to do stuff with her all the time. Like, he'll come up and go, let's do letters, or whatever, and it's on his own, like what you're saying. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. It's harder to kind of see it unless you go through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I am starting to see it, so it's kind of like we're full circle, right?
Yes, exactly. Full
Even though
circle.
we didn't do the public school thing, we did the private school thing, and it's good, and he's definitely learning.
Yeah.
But he also is like, why do I have to go to this place for so long? Like,
Yeah, he says my
it
entire
wastes
day
my
is
day.
wasted.
And then, so he goes to we have a forest school thing where he goes on the weekends. It's kind of a occupational therapy. That's his favorite thing in the world. He goes out in the forest, and they guide him, and he's learning things like how to balance and how to interact with kids. He loves it.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm feeling like he's gonna really enjoy this. And
Oh, I
really
know he will.
Awesome, so.
Yes, absolutely. And my final, what I want to leave with you is do your research, and I have resources for you, but do your research and don't stop until this happens.
Okay.
Don't stop until they're a teenager and you see, wow, it was worth it. You have to be patient. The only way you're going to be patient is if you do your research. There's too much research out there.